It's time for us to have conversations in nutrition, and in the nutrition segment today, we're going to be talking about, challenges that, some people have with pot bellies like mine, and you want to try and get rid of your pot belly. What kind of diet should you be looking at when it comes to that? All right, and just remember that this segment is brought to us by the Farmers Market. The Farmers Market is 100% hygienic and farm fresh. Now, remember that the Farmers Market can be found in East Legon, Tema, Laboni, and so on, and other places, right? And the Farmers Market has seeds, nuts, fresh fruits, vegetables. They do juices, smoothies, and so on and so forth. So, Farmers Market is sponsoring this segment, and we are grateful to them for that. Now, my guest, as usual, is Akosua Yadom, and she's going to help us to get into the different meals, what to avoid, what to take to get rid of your pot bellies. Akosua, good morning.
Good morning, Greku.
How are you?
I'm also yourself.
Fantastic. You're all smiles this morning.
Because of what you said before you came on there.
All right, so take us into this. This is one of great concern for a lot of guys, especially, and as guys get older, it becomes more and more of a concern, what to eat and what not to eat to basically, shed some weight off that belly.
So basically, you need to make sure you are eating well. You are eating a balanced diet is always something we'll start off by saying, because we need to eat well to stay healthy. So you need to make sure you are eating well. You are adapting a very healthy lifestyle habits as far as whatever you are doing, your exercising, what you are putting in you as far as your meals are concerned. And the extracurricular activities, alcohol consumption, if you're smoking, and the little pieces that adds up to what we do between that 24 hours we will have. So it has to do with you eating well to start off, you staying active or fit, that is you exercising, yes, and then you adapting certain healthy lifestyle practices, which will go a long way to help you. So, you
No. So take us into the things that we definitely have to avoid, or manage.
I will start off. You limit your consumption of cruciferous vegetables. We've sat here, we've preached about cruciferous vegetables being amazing. We speak about almost every vegetable being something good. But when you have a pot belly, you need to make sure that you are limiting or cutting down if you can avoid, because you don't need just the cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. You don't need just that as your vegetable. So if you have pot belly, or if you are blessed with a bigger belly, you need to make sure you are cutting down on the cruciferous vegetables.
Really?
It is because digestion struggles to happen in the small intestines. And now it has to be passed on to the larger intestines. And when it gets there, the digestive enzymes there causes there to be bloating, because fermentation is bound to happen in the larger intestines. Because if you were doing it right, let's say broccoli, we are speaking about it being good, but if you are taking or lifting broccoli as a vegetable on a plate, and I am taking a smoothie made from broccoli, obviously digestion will be faster with the smoothie. So if you have a big tummy, or if you have a big belly, a pot belly, and you are choosing vegetables, this lunch, if you are being given broccoli, after watching this segment, tell them if whoever is giving you that meal wants to pump broccoli into your meals, it has to be done properly. And sometimes the reason why indigestion sets in is also because we are always in a hurry to eat. I have said so many times on this show that it takes up to 20 minutes for satiety signals to reach the brain. So if you are somebody who can finish your meals within 5 minutes, it means that you will overeat because you've not gotten to the 20 minutes for information to be sent to the brain that you need to stop because I have received the signal. So people who eat faster overeat. And if you are a fast eater, you don't masticate properly. Food needs to be chewed in such a way that it is semi-liquid or almost liquid before you swallow. When you do that, it makes the work of the digestive enzymes and digestion to happen very, very, very smoothly without having indigestion and you gassing or bloating.
Yeah, this interesting about the time it takes for your brain to be told or to tell your body that you're full.
Enough.
It's enough, you know. When I was younger, I used to play a game with this, you know, because I know I learned this in sixth form biology.
Okay.
So I knew of this thing, and so I played it to my advantage, you know. And I used to have this competition with food, and especially fufu, you know, to see how much fufu you can eat. And I knew that the trick was eat fast.
Yeah.
The faster you eat, the more you can consume before your brain triggers you know, your body to be full. So I think it's a very important.
So it's a very solid point. And then the second point, you avoid or limit intake of stone fruits, especially plums. And I know Jipa speaks about plums, so she should listen to this. What happens is that they are packed with sugar and alcohol. And this will kind of affect you as far as your body is concerned. It can cause bloating because fermentation happens with some of these things, and especially the packed foods, something like tinned tomatoes. Obviously, you need brine solution to make it stay that long, because we can't keep tomatoes in our houses for a year. But if we do something to it as far as prolonging the shelf life of it is concerned, we can keep it for long. And so if you are consuming something like plums, which is a stone fruit, because of what is done to keep it for a longer period, it can cause fermentation, which can result in gassing and bloating. Once fermentation sets in, there is bloating. And the third point, be worried or think twice about dairy products. And this works for people with lactose intolerance. You know that the sugar in dairy products is lactose, and you need the enzyme lactase to kind of break down the lactose. This is chemistry, sorry. You need the lactase to kind of break down before digestion can happen. And what happens is that the digestive enzyme, when you kind of lack the lactase, it means that there is always that stored dairy in your gut. And when dairy stays even in a room for 24 hours without you keeping it in a refrigerator or fridge, it starts to go off. It starts to ferment. And so that is what happens in your tummy. That is why you have people going like, okay, I'm lactose intolerant. It's because they lack the enzyme lactase to break down the lactose in the dairy products they are taking. So if you are somebody who have issues with lactose intolerance, this is something you need to consider. And even with people who don't have lactose intolerance as a problem, I always say that listen to your body. If I am listening to my body, I know that if I take this dairy product, my tummy react in a certain way. So you hear all the sound and the noise going on in your tummy. It should tell you something. It's either you don't have the lactase or your body is simply not accepting the dairy products. So you quickly need to get rid of it, because once fermentation happens, there is bloating going to happen, and that will affect the size of your belly. And then we have the fourth one, croissant, cookies, and pasta. They need to be off the meal plan. So you have people doing AM croissants, and these ones, they are refined. Now, refined foods as compared to unrefined foods are higher in glycemic index. That is how fast your what you eat is being converted into sugar. Yes, and so with refined foods, they have a higher glycemic index. And if you put pressure on your body that way, because I have to kind of do extra work as far as breaking things down is concerned, there is gassing. And once there is gassing, it means that fermentation is going on somewhere, and that can also result in bloating. So you should be mindful. There is a research that was fighting even wheat consumption. Here we are saying wheat is very good. So I always say that in as much as it is good, if you are somebody with a pot belly, you need to make sure it is cooked in a certain way. I can decide to blend my wheat with, let's say, rice, or blend it a little bit so that I can just make my porridges out of it. And if I want to consume it, knowing well that I have a pot belly, I need to make sure that mastication is properly done. I don't rush through my foods.
Yeah.
And then the fifth one is spices.
Okay.
Yeah, so taking hot foods, it kind of releases the stomach acids. And once that, it's like they need to be released, but you don't need to kind of, I don't have to push you. You have to do the segment. You don't need to push me more, because I know that I have to do it. Now, when those are released as a form of trigger or being triggered, fermentation happens. And once something is fermenting, if you tie, let's say, even pineapple juice in rubber and keep it for some time, you realize that it begins to bloat, and that is what is going on in your tummy if you are taking a lot of spicy or hot food. It could be the bouillon cubes, you know, the spices, the cubes we use in the house. You don't need that. And then you cut down completely on gassy foods. Example is beans. And then pulses, root vegetables, because they cause a lot of wind. Causing a lot of wind means that it allows a lot of air to enter your body. And once air is entering your body, so it's either through fermentation or a lot of air entering your body. Beans is very healthy, and if I am, let's say, somebody who doesn't take meat or a vegetarian, I'm looking at beans. So here you are telling us beans is not good. Now, there's something you can do. You can soak your beans overnight. I even have pregnant women who struggle. They have a lot of bloating when they take beans. And constipation and bloating is something common with pregnant women if you are not careful. So I tell clients to soak their beans overnight. When you soak it overnight, you wake up and you see some bubbles, and even the color of the water changing. Now you pour that water away and then cook them with fresh clean water, and you will reduce the fermentation. Okay,
so what's happened overnight that causes the bubbles? What's going on there?
So fermentation kind of happens because the water even smells a bit bad. Yes, and so it means that you are kind of reducing
the amount of gas in the beans
amount of gas in the beans. So one effective way, and I've had clients do that and it has worked. So you can also try, and if it works, let us know. So you can do that, and then you choose salad veggies. So let's say we said you can do broccoli, cabbage. You can decide to do lettuce. Yes, you can decide to do lettuce, and if you know you have potbelly, then you don't lift a full leaf of lettuce into your plate when you are making salad. Now you have to break it off and make sure they are in pieces, smaller bits, and make sure that you still chew your vegetables well before you swallow. So let's get it. Make sure your food, whatever you put in, is chewed properly and it's semi-solid or even almost liquid before you swallow. It makes the work of the smaller intestines easy, so that you don't have to release it to the larger intestines, because when it goes there, fermentation, yes, you will struggle a bit. You put pressure on them, and then chew your food thoroughly. Take your time to eat, and here the satiety signals will come in. You don't need to rush through your meals. If you chew properly, if you masticate well, your body will be able to accept whatever you are taking. Digestion will happen easily, and then you eat less and more often. So mostly when I'm planning meal plans, they go like, hey, 5 times is just a lot. But it's better to eat with smaller plates and be able to go through your daily meals. So I go like, let's say this is your breakfast, this is your AM snack, this is your lunch, this is your PM snack, and this is your supper or dinner. So if you have to spread everything you are eating, let's say there are people who eat even once a day, they eat heavy in the afternoon, that is lunch. And you see that most of these guys with the big bellies are people who think they are not even eating like some of us will eat. The problem is that you are tempted to overeat when you starve yourself. Because I know that I will take breakfast, I will take an AM snack, I will take my lunch, PM snack, and supper.
So you don't
Definitely, I don't need to consume too much at one sitting.
Okay.
And my body is always cushioned in such a way that there isn't even space for me to fill it up to. I still struggle to eat kinky 1 cedi 50 pesos.
Okay.
Yes, because there isn't space.
Yeah.
And it has to do with a lot of discipline, and you also spreading your meals the right way. Then you avoid fizzy drinks. And then you also avoid chewing gums. Gums will introduce a lot of air into your system, and it will cause bloating. Then you watch your sodium intake. Sodium will cause, that is salt, will cause a lot of water retention, and that will kind of always make you look like there is always water a lot of water in you, and that is bloating. It causes bloating. Then avoid sweetness because of the high glycemic index too. They are refined, so you need to make sure you are cutting down. And then probiotics can help, especially with people with lactose intolerance. So that is where supplementation can come in. You can always get in touch. You'll be told the right ones to take. But probiotics can be found in some yogurt. Greek yogurt, for example, you can have them in there. So whatever you are buying, just check on the labels to make sure you have these things on.
So as we wrap up quickly, if you can just take us into the things that will help. I mean, you mentioned probiotics, for example. What else will help? I know things like lemons are good.
Lemons are very good. Cinnamon is very good. Last week I spoke about it. You can just have one, let's say half teaspoon into warm water. You add lemon or lime, one to it, and make sure you wake your system up. There is broth. Broth is the stock you get from cooking bones, and you can use that with a bit of the vegetables we are talking about, saying it's good. So there are people who start off with that, and you can also make a simple smoothie. Okay, so there is matcha powder. If you want some, I can get you some. There is matcha powder. You can use matcha powder, and broccoli, we spoke about it because digestion has to be done properly. You can make simple smoothies. Your meals will need to be planned in such a way that, okay, we can still have you eating a certain kind of meals, like the broth with certain things, like the broth with some vegetables accepted for your breakfast. So we wake you up with that and make sure that we are not giving you something that will make you gas. So this is like an example. That's matcha powder, and this is the smoothie. So I can decide to go for ginger. Ginger is very good. It contains anti-inflammatory properties, and so it will definitely help you. And for the other recipes, ginger is good. You can just find them. I'll post them because I know we don't always have time.
All right, fantastic. So how can people reach you?
Okay, so on Instagram at the Nutritionist Akosua, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Nutritionist Akosua, and you can reach me on 0243 3350206.
Fantastic. We've been speaking with Akosua Kunedu-Yadom, and she's a state-registered nutritionist, helping us to get rid of our pot bellies. Now, this segment, again, it was brought to us by the Farmers Market. Farmers Market, 100% hygienic and farm fresh. You can find them in Tema Community 11, Tema Community 25, Laboni, East Legon, and you can also call the Farmers Market on 0501 481 140. Okay, that's the Farmers Market.
Hi there. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends.
This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Join us for breakfast daily, only on Citi TV.